Hello and welcome to the People Who Read People podcast. I'm Zachary Elwood. This is a podcast aimed at better understanding other people and better understanding ourselves. You can learn more about it at peoplewhoreadpeople.com. This is the third part of a talk I had with professional poker player Yakov Hirsch in December of 2023. This will be us discussing the well-known high-stakes poker story of Robbi Jade Lew being accused of cheating by Garrett Adelstein. That story made international news, with many people writing pieces about it and posting about it on social media. During this video, we'll play the hand itself and give thoughts about it as it plays. This episode is only available on my YouTube channel, not on the usual podcast audio-only channels, because of the visual nature of it. One caveat about this video: I don't think it's a great analysis. I personally can say I hadn't watched the hand in question in a while and was just giving off-the-cuff remarks based on my memories of having watched it and thought about it more than a year ago. There are a few interesting tidbits in there, I think, and I think people will enjoy some of the thoughts, but I did want to say that I don't think it's a top-notch analysis. For example, we don't really get into some of the aspects outside of this hand that contributed to people suspecting that cheating was likely. For example, the fact that some guy who worked for the production was caught taking chips from Robbie's stack during the game, and he claimed that his theft was unrelated to what happened in the hand. And we don't get into the investigations that were done or various other auxiliary information. We're very much focused on Robbie's behavior and thought processes in this hand and her skill level overall. In the description for this episode, I'll give some links to other people's analysis that I thought were pretty good and that are more complete than this. I previously talked to Yakov Hirsch about the Middle East conflict and about polarization and conflict in general. This poker hand and story might seem unrelated to those topics, but I think it's actually very much related. Yakov and I are both people who are very much interested in trying to understand people's behaviors and the reasons for their decisions and actions. In other words, we try to have cognitive empathy for people, even people we may strongly disagree with, even people we may find dangerous. Part of taking that approach to conflict and to life is not jumping to conclusions and being humble about what we can tell about other people's thoughts and motivations. I'd argue our fundamental human problem is that we tend to interpret the world through our biases. We see what we want to see. We too quickly align on antagonistic narratives when we see others as the enemy, and this lowers our cognitive empathy for those people. We stop wondering why they do the things they do. We too quickly form judgments and overly certain framings about those people. That's the case in conflict and polarization, and it was also the case in the story of Robbi Jade Lew being accused of cheating. Garrett Adelstein seemed to instinctually feel he'd been cheated, and then he continued to double down and build that narrative using whatever evidence he could find to build it, however weak. At one point, Garrett wrote a post on the poker forum 2+2, which was to me quite clearly very biased and misleading. He seemed to be interpreting all the events and behaviors that were happening in this hand and elsewhere in the most pessimistic way. In one case, he described a hand played by Robbie's acquaintance, who Garrett was also saying was involved in the cheating. And when I watched the hand, I found Garrett's description of that hand just objectively false. This is just to say Garrett seemed like he had a lot of emotion, and that emotion was leading him to see what he wanted to see. In the poker community, there were other people who also built highly confident narratives that Robbie had clearly cheated, that it was quite obvious, despite it not being obvious at all to many highly experienced poker players. I think in this Robbi Jade Lew story is a demonstration of what I think is our core human problem: the fact that it's just so easy for us to arrive at highly certain antagonistic narratives based on very little evidence. This is at the heart of how we so easily get into conflict with each other. It's at the heart of so many other things too. It's why eyewitness testimony is so often flawed, for example. Once we start seeing the world a certain way, we'll find ways to convince ourselves that that's the way the world is. And I think it was this element of the Robbi Jade Lew poker story that was so engaging to so many people. The fact that so many people could reach such different conclusions about that, about what had happened, was captivating to many people. And that such conclusions for some people could be so passionate and emotional. It seems similar to that image of the dress that got a lot of attention, that dress where people couldn't agree on what color it was and saw different colors. To be clear here, too, I'd bet a lot of money that Robbi Jade Lew didn't cheat and is innocent. And I would have been willing to make that bet soon after this hand happened, too, for the reasons Yakov and I will discuss in this video. But it's, of course, theoretically possible that she cheated. Like most accusations of bad behaviors, you can't entirely rule them out. But even if it did come out that she did cheat, all of the points made in this video still would apply. There is not, at this point in time, good proof that she cheated, and the logic of reasonable doubt applies. You can't go around thinking people cheated just because some suspicious stuff happened. Suspicious stuff happens all the time. It's coincidental and strange things align and can seem suspicious. The logic of reasonable doubt in court cases exists for a good reason, to combat our flawed human tendency to too quickly jump to conclusions and judge other people. And again, that's a big problem for us. Okay, here's the talk with Yakov Hirsch. Well, maybe we can end on something more fun. You want to talk about the poker hand?
Yeah, sure.
Have we talked? I think we've covered everything that I wanted to cover. I think we covered some good stuff. So I thought, yeah, maybe we could. I'll load up this poker hand. I thought we could play the Robbi Jade Lew hand that got so much attention, and the hand's not very long. Maybe I'll skip over some of it, but yeah, I'll play it now, just so it'll be fresh on our minds, and then we can talk about it. Let's see. Share my screen. Can you see that?
Yep.
This is just too good, you know.
Can you still see it?
It's not a crime, but
Except the association is not super appreciated.
yeah, that's why I deleted it. It's like,
I'm just gonna cut ahead
I
a
know
little
what you
bit.
meant well by it, but can we do a round of straddle then? Everyone's fucking jerking me off. Sweet.
This is why you shouldn't be in hands like this.
She doesn't
So we're on
have a
the turn
3.
now. He's thinking about calling with
So
Jack high. Nothing.
You want me to
which
call
is
you?
Crazy.
This is the turn.
what
We're at the
she's
turn
thinking
already.
about here,
Yeah, I
because she
skipped the turn.
loses to some bluffs like king, queen.
Nobody thinks
queen,
she's gonna call
jack
this,
types
right?
of
Like
things too.
nobody would ever call this in any real game. I mean, like
Right.
99.999% of people wouldn't call.
She calls?
For once, but it's up to you. Yikes.
Oh my god!
It's a very strange call for context for
Yeah, we can
non-poker
talk
players.
afterwards.
But yeah, we got to see
What
just
is
how she
going
reacts
on
now.
here?
For once, but it's up to you.
Is it possible that her hand might be misread in the card graphics or something?
Because I have a shitty hand.
You do? Yikes.
Got it. Okay.
What?
No. No, I just thought this is a pure bluff catcher I'm dealing with right now.
With Jack high?
Purely. But yeah, I think he has to be.
Well, go to the river. The river is a 9.
That one's you for sure.
They're gonna run it
Unless you have, like, pocket
twice.
five.
He hasn't seen her hand
Do you
yet.
have like small pair?
You give me that much credit?
I don't know.
Haven't you seen what I've
She's
done?
good with the first one.
turn him over. You're not that.
Oh. No.
Watch Garrett's
If
reaction.
the cards are correct.
It's already there.
He's embarrassed.
Wait till he sees it.
What a sick call.
And the river
embarrassed.
breaks out again.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I mean, he's genuinely shocked
I
too.
didn't. I want to
Why
see.
is he gonna let me do
Does she have Jack 4?
Look at his face now.
Yeah,
When it registers.
yeah.
What?
Whoa!
Look at
He's looking around. Does everyone really?
Whoa, look at Garrett's face. That is.
I mean, that is, getting to the empathy here on both sides. It's like that. I understand why he is very suspicious and shocked. He's like, something is not right here.
It's like she threw this money away for it's preposterous. I mean,
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, we'll keep it going.
Fucking poker right there. That was sick.
Wow.
That was sick. Oh shit.
Well, it's also interesting to watch like her as she realizes that what he's thinking, because then she's like, oh, now he's looking at me like he suspects me, and maybe I did something really weird,
No, look, her experience through these things, if stuff she said earlier, she's on TV. She's been there a few times. This is the best thing that's ever happened to her in her life, right? She's getting all this attention. She's thinking about what this is going to do for her life, for her career.
It's exciting, yeah.
Right, this situation she's in. She also has this belief that this guy, who's the biggest professional of them all, is bullying her.
Right.
He said last time, he thinks that, of course, and it doesn't matter which cards he has, he's going to raise her big blind, right? Because he's going to force her, he's going to outplay her. So this is how she's experiencing right away from the beginning of this hand. And maybe one time she already caught him bluffing. So she has this narrative going into this hand already that this guy's a bully. He's going to take advantage of me, and I'm not going to have any of that. So, but him, basically, he's a pro. He just plays his hand. He doesn't think these things, right?
Yeah.
So now the hand continues, and suddenly imagine if she's right, and she calls, she's going to be like, this is going to be,
everybody's going to love me. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's how impressive will it look, right? I
Right.
know she has some poker thoughts in her head. Would he even raise if he had this? Or the raise doesn't make sense. Whatever it is that she told herself, sort of like prodded her along to make this crazy call. And think about when she says she's doing it twice. She's like, okay, maybe I'll get lucky one of the two hands, right? Even if I'm losing, maybe this,
And for non-poker players, we should preface this and say, this is an astoundingly bad call. Like, nobody makes this call, and you have to understand that to understand why people thought it was so suspicious. And I think the other interesting thing, I think there was this kind of like this curve where I felt like, if you've played a lot of poker, I mean, I've played a lot of poker, and other people that have played a lot of poker, a lot of people, I feel like the people that have played like a moderate amount of poker thought that she was cheating because they just couldn't understand how somebody could do this. But the people that have played a whole lot of poker were like, I've seen crazy calls like this that made like absolutely no sense, but sure, this is for a lot more money maybe. But it's like, people do this, like they feel like they get flustered, they're not thinking well, they're not good poker players. They're like, I'm not gonna let this person push me around, and maybe I'll look really cool if I'm right. It's like, and you add in these factors, and maybe she's not playing with her own money.
If he's bluffing her, she thinks she's gonna look
Right.
bad. Everyone say, oh, it's so easy. So that thought is there too. I'm gonna look like a fool if I just fold.
And there's a fog of war element too. Like, I played on the Live at the Bike stream for like pretty small stakes, but I was amazed by how flustered I was because I'd never played on camera before, and I was just kind of like, my mind went blank a couple of times where I was just like, am I gonna look stupid? Like, that's another thing people don't understand is, like, if you're in that situation, like, you playing on a stream like for a lot of money, like, and you've never done that kind of stuff before. I mean, maybe she did it recently or before that, but it's like there can be an element of extreme anxiety because it's just such a weird, you're on the spot, you're being recorded. There can be an element of like your mind going blank. So I think that's another thing that people just didn't, that alone could be a big
and then think about what happened afterwards. She offered to give the money back. And they went outside, these two, and they were discussing, and she said, take the money back. For a lot of people, that was proof that she was cheating. Where in reality, if you think about her perspective, she's like, I don't care about the money, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Bigger than the money. Whereas, why would she give it back, right? Clearly, if she was cheating, she wouldn't say, "Hey, take it back." She'd stick with her story.
Exactly. That was kind of one of those things similar to the Trump thing, where it's like Trump asking the Russians to get the emails. It was like people were saying that was proof of guilt, and to me, it was like the exact opposite. It was like, that is not how a guilty person who cheated would behave. They would just keep the money and stick to their story, right? Like, so it's like, let's keep watching and we can talk about the aftermath. But this is interesting how she reacts when she starts realizing like Garrett's judging her and thinking she cheated.
Right, so we have to imagine being her right now.
Yeah.
Super strange. You can see his reaction. Like, what?
Ma'am? Very nice to be You're fucking stupid.
Jacob, you look like you want to kill me. I mean, not Jacob. I mean, like, you look like you want to kill me, Garrett.
He wants to vomit.
I was not in the hand. I want to vomit.
Yeah, we have to think about like how uncomfortable she is here when she says, you look like you want to kill me. Like, that's a factor in her returning the money later and like realizing like, oh, maybe I should just give the money back because these people I thought I was going to be cool with, and now they, maybe they're being bad about me. And
I think she's going through different things. On the one hand, she's sort of proud that she was right. So you're going to see her interaction with him. She's sort of like taunting him a little, right? But on the other hand,
I knew you didn't have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this thing, right? All these things are going on, but the way she talks to him, it makes the whole story make sense when you see the way she talks to him.
Yeah, you're right. It's like there's conflicting things because she also wants to like keep her cool and be the cool person because that's why she, part of why she wants to be on this show is like, I want to be a semi-celebrity. But yeah, let's keep it playing.
Wow.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I mean, usually Garrett would be fairly congratulatory if somebody made a hero call like that, but he seems somewhat disturbed here by what just happened. I don't.
Call of the year right there.
It's testing.
It's literally like the sort of most disturbed look that I've ever seen Garrett give.
We can pause it if you like.
No, let me tell you what happened. 10,000, win raise 20, shove, call.
And obviously the reason why he would be that is how can she call?
I remember.
Like maybe he thinks that she saw his hand somehow, or I don't know.
Nothing. I think nothing happened.
The flop goes bet call. The turn goes bet raise shove call.
Like what? What do you mean like raise?
128.
Bet 20,000 mini raise.
No, before the flop.
Before the flop.
128.3.
I think it was $2,500.
Oh, look
I
at
don't
that.
understand sort of what's happening right now.
Andy.
This is a new cut, right?
If my jack was in a club, I would have been out.
What do you mean if your jack was in a club?
Should I block her?
You know you've let me do this to you several times now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening
I'm just
right
testing
Taunting
it.
him.
And
This
you
doesn't.
Yeah, but and it's understandable. She wants to save face. She's not gonna.
No. I don't think. I think she said, "You brought this on yourself. You tried to bluff me last time."
Yeah, but I think she's kind of
little-
doing. I think she's doing that in a little defensive way because she's trying to like lighten the.
I detect it's both. Maybe.
Maybe.
A little taunt somewhere.
Yeah, I think she is. I think she's tense because I think she does realize like Garrett thinks I cheated or something. But she's gonna still play it cool.
Seems super funny to me, honestly.
No, like when you bet that like high big stack, why did you go on
I don't
it
need to
twice?
say
I thought you were on ace high. Ace high.
And then so why call with jack high?
Yeah, to me, it almost seems like she's like realizes that like he thinks it's suspicious, so she's trying to, stick up for herself and be like, you did this to me before. I wasn't gonna let you do it again. She's wanting to know her reasons, her justifications for it, right? Yeah, I don't know. That was mine.
Then?
First of all, a little bit of a straight draw. I have blockers on there.
No, on the turn though. So you called all in on the turn because.
Yeah, because you don't have shit.
That's right. She
You don't
thinks you
have
can't beat a
shit.
jack high.
It's not about what I have. It's about what I don't think you have when you play against me. That's
You
it.
didn't think you had jack queen of clubs.
75.
Well, so you say all she knows you were
You let me
bluffing.
do
That's
this
what
to
you're
you
saying. I know you were bluffing. Okay.
Yeah,
That's all I need to know.
and we've heard that logic a lot at the poker table. It's like I just thought you were bluffing.
Right.
Like people call with like
Right.
5 highs sometimes.
But all the times the people fold, when you play poker and you bet and you see someone, folds 100 times, right? And once they call and they show you, wow, that's an amazing call. All the other times they were wrong.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's like
1 to the 200 number. Wow, what a call! Great read.
and you'll be a hero. Yeah, you'll be an amazing
All
hero.
the other
that
times you
one
paid,
time.
you paid the river.
Yeah.
It's because you thought the person was bluffing.
2 last time we played.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep letting me. Okay, 50, 75, 100, 20, 10, 20.
I mean, obviously, I'll just say it. Garrett thinks that this hand was not straight in some way. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is the most disturbed I've ever seen Garrett look at the table. And I think Andy's disturbed too. he doesn't. If you looked over there, it's like, whoa, what just happened here?
I
not the
don't
only
think
one
that
that
she
gets lucky
thinks
sometimes,
she's
Garrett. You're
cheated.
not-
I don't think she's being. I don't think she recognizes that they think she's cheated. She thinks that they think she made a stupid call, but not that.
No, I don't know. Well, you could be right, but I kind of read it as like the way Garrett was looking was so unusual for him because he's usually real friendly to amateur, especially to, you know.
Yes, it could.
I don't know. I thought she
It could
picked
be.
up that
It
like
could
the
be
way when she
Yeah, you
said
could be
you
right.
you're looking at me like you want to kill me. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong. It could just be
No,
like
you could be right.
it's hard, hard to say.
To get that upset.
Robbie did that for Andy. Robbie did that for Andy last night. She did that for you.
Don't put me in this. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's going on right now.
Yep.
That was the most interesting poker hand I've ever made.
Andy.
That's not a poker hand.
That wasn't. I played you and not the hand. What's the problem? I played you. So don't let me play you.
Yeah, just don't let her play you.
She's not being defensive there. Right?
I mean, I don't know if that's a function of that she thought she could call.
Right? I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I know, right?
The reason why this is, of course, so strange is that
Straight flush draw, but I also was
But
holding
she had the blocker to the straight
I
flush
had
draw.
exactly a jack of clubs.
Boom, that's the key card.
Eric, you done?
I think
I
she's
saw that
feeling
shit.
good about it.
It happens. There's some reason you did it.
There's multiple reasons I did it.
You only needed one. You thought Jack High was good.
That's like
Maybe
some
you're right.
spiritual like guide from outer space.
I ran it twice because I
Telling
didn't
your
think Jack
ear or
High could
something
be
like,
good.
oh, like,
Now you have
that
to
is
play
like-
this thing out. If she would have cheated, now imagine she would have cheated beforehand, and she knows. And then you have to play out all the behavior as if she knew she stole this money now. So is this the way someone like that would behave? If she's plotting with a friend to cheat for 6 months, she got into the game and finally this hand, she's gonna win. And now, is this the way they would behave afterwards? Like, oh, I got away with it. Okay, what should I say? No, that's not, right?
The thing that really stood out to me for this was in the interviews after, where she just, in the same way we were talking about general poker tells or some of Trump's behavior, it's like she was just so effusive about how she talked about things, like she held nothing back. She was able to like talk about all pieces of the hand. Like somebody that cheated would be afraid to accidentally draw attention to something, right? It wouldn't be like she was just like completely off the cuff, responded immediately to questions, blah blah blah. That's what really clued me in. It was like in the sense of comparing it to interrogations, it's like guilty people, are going to be prone to like pausing to consider what they're going to say and like how it's going to be interpreted. And, if they talk, it's going to be after a pause and be really like thought out. But she was just like so loose, like devil may care. I got nothing to lose,
And then there was this whole discussion that maybe she thought she had a pair, that she had Jack 3. And then people said, oh, that's the theory. And because she suddenly at some point she said, oh, let me put that option in the air when they asked her, right? Why not? So, but of course she didn't. I
will say that I think there is a chance that she did think she had a 3, but then was so embarrassed that then or wanted to bolster the call even more by saying she knew she only had Jack High. So it's possible she lied initially and then again later, but she might have lied initially out of embarrassment for misreading her hand or something, just to say there's a few complex things that could be there. But I think that, I was going to say to one of the major points about this is like the thing that was really bad about this and related to what we've been talking about is there were people that acted like as if they were 100% confident that she cheated without good evidence, which totally relates to what we've been talking about. It's like people see what they want to see. Like they had kind of decided like this hand's too outlandish, she must be cheating, and then they would like sift through the evidence looking for like things that were out of line. Whereas like to me, it's like the one thing we can say about this is like it's not clear she cheated at all. Like that is the one thing that I can say about it. It's like it's uncertain, which if she's not proven guilty, she's innocent, right? So I'll keep it going.
Really strong. I mean, really, a lot of very quote good poker players were convinced she cheated. Like,
yeah, that was what shocked me too. Like I'm like, why? just because you think the hand is really weird, like, and the other thing, like there was a really Garrett speaking, related to what we're talking about too. Garrett was sifting through all the evidence to build his narrative because he had decided that she cheated. He had written this blog post on this post on 2+2 poker forum, and I went through it and I watched some of the stuff that he claimed was like suspicious in other hands, and it just wasn't suspicious. Like he even like tremendously misdescribed this one hand where he was like describing a supposed collusion where like her and this guy she knew at the game, like he said that this guy folded before the hand was even over, and I watched that hand. That's not what happened. Like he basically saw he lost and then walked off. So it was like Garrett was like very much like filtering everything he could find to be like, I'm going to bolster this case of why she is guilty, how they cheated me, but it was not convincing whatsoever.
Yeah, and this became a big story everywhere, right? It was
it was a national news story. Like you had people that knew nothing about poker, mainstream journalists weighing in on Twitter with their takes. Like some people were even saying stuff like it's sexism that people would think that she cheated just because she was a woman who made a great call, and it was like, that's not why they think she cheated. They don't. It's not something to do with sexism. It's just a really weird hand, and that's what they're seeing. So in the same way, people were reaching for these very pessimistic, non-cognitive empathy reasons for why the people that thought she cheated were maliciously motivated too. So there was just a storm of bad, very overconfident interpretations of all sorts of things.
Yep.
I don't know I guess we can finish it up because we started it. I'll just play the last couple minutes.
Have bigger balls than most.
I know.
Yeah. So
And
congratulations.
most men just bluff me. And I'm used to it.
It's a situation where it's like,
Embarrassed to show that hand.
is it possible that she just doesn't know?
You also
This is what's got to be going through Garrett's mind.
You're the only one in it with me.
The streamers have gone crazy.
Does she just not know that she can't call with Jack High there, and that a bunch of bluffs beat her?
That's gonna make YouTube.
Or was the hand not straight in some way?
We are on YouTube.
No, but I mean, it's gonna be a clip. That's just
But both Garrett.
I feel like Phil Ivy's like a guy with enough experience and wisdom to be like, she probably just made a wild call there. I feel like that's what he's probably thinking.
Yeah, everyone. It's interesting to know if you could ask everyone right then what did she cheat or not, what the response would be.
I feel like Ivy's like, I've seen this kind of stuff before.
Yeah.
Garrett and Andy.
It's all on its own right there.
So sorry.
It's fucking amazing.
Oh, that's right.
Think that something's up.
It was amazing.
3,800.
So he just leaves the table, right?
Is that when he walks off?
Yeah, I think he just picks himself up.
Garrett just looks like, he's seen multiple
You have a
ghosts.
therapist in here or what?
I need one after that. At least I don't feel my...
82% of the time, he's gonna make something on 2 boards.
I don't feel so hungover anymore. That's...
Oh, man.
Wow, look at Garrett. He's like
Just me and Eric.
it's looking like he's seen a ghost almost.
That's where I got that
You
from.
know that there's all kinds of things going through his head.
One on my bucket list, the man, the myth, the legend who I fucking...
Now I have a lot of experience with this from years ago,
But pulling it off.
with the possibility of someone possibly seeing the cards. And we saw this whole sample from
Yeah, I'll pause it. That's probably enough. Yeah.
So
So
I want to say about with bringing together poker and the issue of racism, I want to say an important experience that I had is that it really surprised me that when you play poker live somewhere in LA, the people, there's every type of nationality, religion, every day. And people just don't think of each other in a group. People just have, it's just a person. I have never seen, this something turn into racist.
you're saying you're saying there's overly pessimistic views of.
I think people actually look at each other for who they are rather than for the group they represent. And even when they get angry, it's actually a beautiful thing to see. And it's anyone who thinks that, oh, people like race, all ideological people. Look, these people aren't ideological. They don't say, oh, this type of person behaves like, oh, you're this type of person. That's why you did that, right? You're from there. No, just people, right? So that's what you experience in life, when you play poker.
Yeah, or even, I think it's very important, even for people you very much dislike or think have done horrible things, to be curious about what drives them and to look for the reasons for why they do what they do, even if they, have done objectively horrible things. I think when we stop being curious is when, or stop wanting to understand bad things to prevent them.
Stop looking for ideology. Stop looking for saying, oh, this person did that for this reason, for some bigger reason, right?
Don't, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, however that thing goes. Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been great. Yakov, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you.
All right. I'll stop it. This was the third part of a talk I had with Yakov Hirsch in late 2023. If you enjoyed this, you might enjoy our other talks, which were on the subject of anti-Semitism and the Middle East conflict, and also about Trump and American polarization. This has been the People Who Read People podcast with me, Zachary Elwood. You can learn more about it at peoplewhoreadpeople.com.